Where's Becky? I feel like she'd really like this red rum liquor we're having right now.
This is amazing.
I've really taken a shine to it.
Yeah. Speaking of shine, I think she likes moonshine.
Here's Becky!
Hey everybody, welcome to the Free Rotation podcast. I am Bobby. I am joined by our leader and commander, Angela.
What was that?
And by film historian, Beckles.
Oh, I'm a very famous film historian. I know movies like... I know lots of movies.
It's so good to meet you.
I haven't seen The Godfather or Terminator, but I'm a historian.
Sip with your pinky up.
Oh, my bad. Shipping.
And mind you, while she's doing all this, she's twirling her fucking mustache.
Ooh, I grew it out just for this podcast. I am half Middle Eastern. We grow shit real fast. Especially body hair.
God bless.
Oh, how did we get to this?
It was when I was a young warthog.
No, because we fully rotated.
We did.
I fully rotated something in my shoulder the other day and my neck hurt real bad. Like for 2 days, it hurt real bad. I had to get that icy hot shit and some biofreeze. It still hurts.
Listen, Reagan, we're going to exercise you.
Okay.
Oh.
Wrong movie franchise, but we're getting there. Or book to movie franchise? Is that what we're talking about? Yeah.
I'm just talking about you rotating your neck and shoulders.
Oh, I get it. I've only seen The Exorcist like one time. I'm a film historian, though.
No.
Speaking of film, we're discussing
Not The
A book.
Exorcist.
not the book. We're you all got me fucked up. Anyway,
A book that was made into a film. Is that what you're trying to say,
yes,
Bobby?
we're talking about the latest of Stephen King's adaptations, Dr. Sleep.
Which I kept referring yesterday as the Dr. No Sleep podcast.
Jesus fucking Christ.
I couldn't help it. That's a crossover, if there ever was one.
Yeah, that's a great crossover.
Before we give our non-spoiler review, non-spoiler short review, and then get into spoilers because we're like that, I'm going to give the brief synopsis for the listeners that haven't seen it.
Sweet.
Struggling with alcoholism.
Like
Dan...
Becky.
What the hell?
That's me. But anyway,
Oh.
Dan Torrance remains traumatized by the sinister events that occurred at the Overlook Hotel when he was a child. His hope for a peaceful existence soon becomes shattered when he meets Abra, not the Pokemon, a teenager who shares his extrasensory gift of the Shine. Together they form an unlikely alliance to battle the True Knot, a cult whose members try to feed off the shine of innocence to become immortal.
Dun dun dun.
Now,
I'm immortal.
I know that sounds fucking weird and how it's like supposed to be a sequel to The Shining, but it works, I promise.
It was very good. Like,
Yeah.
I didn't expect, to me, whenever you have a sequel to a famous book, like years later, I feel like it's just a money grab for an author to do
Like
something
To
with
Call
it.
a Watchman by Harper Lee. You bitch, you fucked up To Kill a Mockingbird. Atticus is not a KKK member. I fucking hate you. Sorry.
Okay. To be fair, though, it's funny you actually mentioned this. Me and Angie discussed this yesterday.
Yeah.
I told Angie, I said, the problem is with people is they don't understand that lawyers have to be zealous advocates regardless of what. I don't agree with the whole Atticus Finch thing anyways. But you have to also remember that to be a lawyer means you could represent somebody you don't agree with.
Mm-hmm.
But you have to do the right thing as your legal profession calls for it, as a lawyer can confirm.
Speaking of legal professions, give us a non-spoiler rating.
I give it a 9.8 out of 10.
Ooh.
I give it a high review. We're talking about Dr. Sleep, not To Call a Watchman, by the way.
I give it a 9 as well. There's only one thing I have, and it's nitpicky. But what about you, Angela?
A ditto. Yeah, one thing and it's nitpicky.
So we all love this
It's
movie.
not one little thing.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll get
was
into
one
it.
Big thing, but
And
we'll get
this
into
is
it.
all
And
spoilers.
it's probably the same for all of us.
After this is spoilers. And
All spoilers.
3,
Are
2,
you saying it's their spoilers?
1.
Jack Nicholson died.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, there you go. Speaking of Jack Nicholson, my one nitpick for the movie. Well, the guy, I know he's from House on Haunted Hill and that shit. The guy they got to replace him as the bartender, God, that fucking stuck out so bad to me. I was like I would have just not been like an impersonator in the film. It just really bothered me. It's like you're trying to play Jack, but you can't do it. I'm sorry.
Well, let's get into that in a minute.
Sure.
Okay, so let's talk about who was in this movie, I guess.
It was directed by Mike Flanagan, who has done Gerald's Game and House on Haunted Hill. He's real good at
Yeah.
the horrors. Ewan McGregor was Dan Torrance, and I thought he was great. Rebecca Ferguson, hot as fuck, by the way, in this movie. God damn, I never really liked a hippie so much. As Rose the Hat. You have Kylie Curran as Abra Stone. Again, not a Pokemon. You have Cliff Curtis as Billy Freeman, who was really good as a supporting character. You have,
Zahn McClarnon.
yes, as Crow Daddy, which sounds like a sex name. You have Emily Alyn Lind. God, it's a fucking weird name, but she was super hot in this movie. Snakebite Andy. You have Selena Aduz as Apron Annie. You have Robert Longstreet as Billy the Chunk. You have Carol Strucken as Grandpa Flick, and you have Carl Lumley as Dick Halloran. Well, since we're on cast and crew, who was your favorite?
I gotta tell you, Rebecca Ferguson, I think she did a better job of portraying Rose the Hat than Rose the Hat did in the book. Like,
Yeah.
like I never pictured her kind of like that. I kind of just pictured her as this like really evil, like presence, witchy, sinister kind of thing. But she played it perfectly. If you're trying, like, she reminded me of Sarah Jessica Parker from Hocus Pocus, trying to like get the children to come to her. Like, she had that sweet face, but then she could like even like the slightest little movement in her face, you could see her like just turn.
Yep.
It was so scary. She did a great job. She's one of those actresses that I wish people had more, what's the word?
Respect.
More respect, or had more, influence in as an actor, because I think she does a fantastic job. She was in The White Queen.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought she was great in it. But this one I could really see like she was the embodiment of this evil character.
What about you, Angela?
I liked her too.
Okay, fair. It's hard because I liked a lot of people in this movie, but I'm probably going to go with Ewan McGregor as Dan Torrance. He played it so fucking well, especially in the beginning when he's like full blown alcoholic. That scene in the when he's with that girl from the bar, like that fucking decision of where he's going to take the money or not. He sees the fucking kid. Oh, it's so fucking good.
Wait,
so
you had
good.
that? You just had a look on your face about Ewan McGregor.
I didn't think he did a great job.
Oh, that's
Dan
fair.
Torrance. And I don't know if it was the writing. I thought he did a great job, but not. Dan Torrance in the book was a piece of shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We know he was. We
Yeah.
read the book. He was a piece of shit all the way to the end
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
of the book. He that's why he owed such a huge debt, because he took his gift and he used it against people for years. Like and one thing, if you didn't pick up on, was he left that woman dead.
Yep.
And knew the kid was with his dead mom, and he left her, and he did take that money.
Oh, I didn't know if at least in the movie. If you haven't read the book, I didn't know in the movie if he knew she was dead at that
No,
moment.
he knew.
He did. Okay.
Yeah, she'd overdosed. He woke up next to a dead woman.
Oh fuck.
And remember in the book, she haunted him
Yep.
almost the entire book.
Yeah, we got a little brief flash of that in this film.
So he had such an innocent demeanor in this movie,
Mhm.
and came across as such a good guy.
Yeah.
But I think it's Ewan McGregor as an actor in
Yeah.
general. Like, if you think of Ewan McGregor, do you ever kind of think of him as like an evil character? I will always think of him as Obi-Wan Kenobi.
I'm not saying Dan Torrance was evil,
Yeah.
but he
Well, no, I'm saying like you're trying to talk about like a hard ass in a
Mhm.
character or
Mhm.
something like that. Like,
But Dan was Jack.
Yeah.
That's why the Overlook had such a easy time,
Possessing him.
taking him.
I think they changed in this movie to give him sort of a redemption arc near the end, which I appreciated. But just some of the scenes is like, especially because it's so hard to portray, I think, alcoholism without going over the top. I really liked what he did. And then throughout the movie, like, I liked his chemistry with Abra. I thought that was I thought like it wasn't as like cutesy in the book, but like in the movie, they just had a really good like not stepdad. What's the term I'm thinking of?
like father figure.
Yeah. Because I mean, she had a dad, but like she didn't know the shit she was actually going through with their shine and everything. And then I also really liked Carl Lumley as Dick Halloran. Like, he looked fucking like spot on. And if you look back at if you watch the original Shining, that suit he's wearing, it's the same shirt and jacket he's from that. I was like, holy fuck, that is on par.
I think that,
Yeah.
the thing about Dick Halloran, though, is it's like he's such a central character to what The Shining is in the first place, that I feel like if you had messed him up, you can't really set up for Dan's redemption arc, because Dick Halloran played such a big prominent role in making sure, especially in the book. He was more so present in the book than he was in the movie. But he taught Danny how to lock up those monsters and how to become somebody for Abra.
Well, and I guess in the book we know why he changed his mind and helped Abra, which they didn't have that in the movie.
Yeah.
So they had to give him something that would kind of force his hand to, which was just he's a good guy, not, you are her uncle.
Yeah.
You need to save her. She's your family.
Yeah, I did like some of this indecision, like until like because he's like he's settled into the town at this point. He's been there for 8 years. I like his indecision of not knowing whether he should help and get involved or not. But then when he finally makes that decision, I was like, and it got real hardcore. Like that fucking the campsite scene. The campsite scene is that, and then when the kids get killed, or like literally the reason this movie is rated R.
Oh man, yeah.
Holy
when
fuck.
they were murdering the kid,
the baseball kid. Oh
yeah,
my
it was
god.
very.
I will say that was probably what it was one of those things a lot of people were kind of torn on because just for some background clarification, if you don't know the true knot, they eat the shine of younger children in order to stay immortal. So they find this one child who has the shine in Ohio. No, it was Iowa. And they find him and they take him to this plant, and it's just 15-20 minutes, 10 to 15, at least 10 to 15 minutes of torturing him on screen and listening to him scream and beg and cry and just see what happens. It was so uncomfortable.
And I have to tell you, the cinematography was so good because your blood is almost boiling hot.
Yeah.
So when it showed it steaming and bubbling out of his mouth as he was dying, I was like, this person has actually seen dead people.
Mike Flanagan
also
knows what he's doing.
And when Billy Freeman kills himself, shoots him in the head. And when I first saw it on the screen and saw how his face had flattened and the eye, I was like, my God, that's actually what a dead person looks like.
Yeah.
Who has just killed themselves that way. Usually you see and they're like, either they, extreme and, there's no head left. I mean, if you use a shotgun, that's what's happened. But what he did, I was like, Jesus, whoever did this has seen a dead body.
Yes.
I'm telling you, they have seen dead bodies.
Well, fun fact about the actor who played Bradley Trevor, the number 19 baseball boy. Apparently, he acted so well in that scene that Rebecca Ferguson and the other actors were so shocked that at the end of it, when he popped up and said, "Gotcha, guys," and ran off to his dad and high-fived his dad, because they were so uncomfortable about
That's
that scene
funny.
because he acted it so well. Because you can hear
It was good.
he was crying and begging and just asking for his life. You can hear, I won't tell my mom, just let me go. It's
What
like,
horror movie was that little boy in? I feel like he was adopted, and when he fell asleep, shit happened. Was that kid from that movie?
It might be. He's been in a couple of movies. I think he's also been in a Mike Flanagan something.
I think he was in House. I think he
was
played one of the
he? He was
younger
one of the
kids.
kids?
I think he
Yeah.
played one of the
Okay.
younger kids. I think.
He's been around. I know
He's
that they
good.
were talking about he's one of the best kid actors out there right now.
Yeah,
But
he's-
damn, he
yeah,
really did a
Yeah,
good job.
he's gonna go places, provided he doesn't get.
He doesn't have the Haley Joel Osment issue.
Yeah, pretty. Well, no, not even him because he's a producer now. He does
or
pretty good.
even
yeah.
the Home Alone kid.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
Macaulay Culkin, yeah.
Because that kid was super talented.
He's got a really good podcast called Bunny Ears. That
Yeah, he does. I like
He's
it.
super funny.
Mhm.
What was I gonna say? What was next? Oh yeah, you didn't like Ewan McGregor?
No, I liked him. And like I said, it could be just the writing of the screenplay that made him. They had to work around a lot from The Shining.
Yeah.
And so the changes they made were understandable and really good.
Yeah. Who didn't you like the most? Who was your least favorite?
It's weird, but the girl who played Abra,
Okay.
surprisingly, I didn't picture Abra like that. She was quirky, and the thing in the book is that she was quirky and she had a personality, but I just couldn't get that sense of Abra from that girl. It's not that she did a bad job. Kylie Curran did a really good job playing the part. It's just, it didn't feel like how I felt when Abra was involved in the book.
So you're saying you felt like she was being quirky for the sake of being quirky rather than being actually very.
It wasn't like her personality. It was like this girl was written to play this part, and she's playing that part.
I did think if y'all watched Ruby, the Rooster Teeth show,
Angie
you
did.
see all the shit on the walls. Like someone from Rooster Teeth was a part of this movie because it just fucking plastered everywhere in the room.
She
It was, even the figure.
I was about to
when
say-
she had the Winter Queen.
Yeah, was it Emerald? I thought it was her. It was Emerald or that. Oh no! When she wore that blue wig, it was Emerald,
Yeah.
and that was her pretending to be Emerald from Ruby, so they couldn't find her.
Right.
Okay.
I thought
No,
that
I'm
was
talking
funny.
about the action figure that was beside her bed.
Oh yeah.
And yes. So I thought it was funny.
Honestly,
I liked it. I enjoyed that
yeah.
part.
I'm gonna have to go. My least favorite actress was it was Emily Lind who played Snakeback Andy.
I was
Yeah.
gonna say the
Yeah,
same thing.
She's not great. She is gorgeous. I had a
Mhm.
crush on her. So I wanted to point out something. When I saw the trailer and I saw her in it, because she's in the movie theater with a black and white movie and she's kind of dressed like retro. I was like, oh, this is gonna be like back in the 50s or whatever.
Right.
Nope, it's modern times. I was like, oh, she's just dressed like a little girl and it's really fucking creepy. And the old man in there is also disgusting. But yeah, she was kind of one note. She just hated men, angry all the time.
but
so
she
I think-
didn't really portray that well.
Yeah,
yeah.
I like the scene of her like fucking whispering into the guy in the movie theater, but that was really
The
about
problem
it.
is, I get, there's a time limitation. This movie was like 2 hours and 30 minutes as
Yeah.
it was, but in the book, it explains a lot about Snakebite Andy and how she was raped by her father
Mhm.
and the layers of who she is because she hates men so deeply.
And that's why they were able to turn her so easily because the chance to get back.
at somebody.
Forever.
And it didn't go into the arc where she doesn't really participate in killing the children, but
Yeah.
she will go after men with a shine.
Yeah.
Makes sense. Since I haven't read the book in a while, but I assume you've read it more recently than I have, Angela. Did you feel like the movie captured the overall tone of the books besides Ewan McGregor's performance of Stan Torrance?
No.
Okay, yeah, I agree.
But it was a perfect sequel to The Shining.
I feel,
Movie.
yeah,
The Shining movie.
Yeah.
I-
Yeah, The Shining movie.
because it's really hard to make a direct adaptation of a King novel because they're
Right.
so fucking weird.
And they exist mostly in the head.
So I think for like the general audience, this is a really
Good movie.
Here,
intro to Stephen King
I just-
mythology.
I said this earlier, I think in the conversation, but I think that for what it is, if you're looking at the direct sequel to the Shining movie, to the Doctor Sleep the movie, it's a perfect adaptation. It does feel like a Stephen King novel.
Mhm.
It does have that like Stephen King-esque feel to it. But if you're looking at it from Doctor Sleep the book to Doctor Sleep the movie, you're not getting the same thing. But it makes sense because Mike Flanagan didn't want to completely shit on The Shining the movie.
Mhm.
But you had to somehow retcon. You couldn't retcon exactly what happened in the movie because the book was completely different
Yeah.
than the movie.
Like things like the Overlook had burned down in the Shining book, but in the
Yeah.
movie, it was still there.
Mhm.
So they had to change this movie because the Overlook was still there. They couldn't take it to the ruins like it did in Doctor Sleep the book.
Mhm.
So they just went to the hotel itself.
And the thing is, like on that point of it as well, it's like at that point you're literally tying in one of the most iconic horror movies of all time. So if you're gonna take in The Shining and The Overlook and all of that, or the original Shining and The Overlook, you want it to have the same feel as it did when they went. I mean, I had this look on my face when it switched over from the music for for Doctor Sleep when they started going up the mountain and
To
it
the
was
Shining.
the original Shining music. I was like, oh shit, here we go,
It's happening.
it's going now.
Because the Shining Hotel was terrifying.
Yeah, The Overlook. Yeah.
Yeah.
I wanted to mention something. It was funny. Mike Flanagan not only directed this, he also wrote the whole script.
Oh.
Yeah, he wrote and
Oh,
directed
he did
it.
a great
Yeah.
job.
But it was funny. I was watching an interview by him, and he was talking about like he wanted to incorporate bits of Kubrick's Shining and the miniseries from the '90s, and he kept going back to King about it, like because he'd give him like the drafts and stuff, and then like the final draft, King said it's fucking perfect.
Yeah.
So he was super
Yeah,
happy.
Stephen King
Mhm.
did really lighten up he softened up a lot about The Shining, the Stanley Kubrick version of it, and I think Mike Flanagan did the right thing about trying to keep all of those elements in while still maintaining that Stephen King-esque novel essence.
Mhm.
So the fact that he made sure that he was asking King about it, because I don't think Stanley Kubrick and Stephen King ever got along.
No.
So
no,
this
no.
was like Mike Flanagan like kind of almost mending the bridges for that
Mhm.
with this movie.
To be fair
He
though,
did a great job.
yeah.
Yeah.
To be fair, back then King was still on his coke binge, and it was the '80s, so everyone was doing it. So I'm just assuming there's just tension because like there wasn't enough coke on the set.
Yeah, he's admitted that he doesn't really remember
Oh my god,
much of anything.
you can
in that
see
time
it when he
period.
wrote it. Like it's a
Yeah.
total coke. This is total coke
Yeah,
mania right here.
Child orgy. None of the adaptations of it has ever shown a child orgy, and I think that's probably the correct
You-
answer
you-
to all of that.
You can't do it because then it becomes child pornography, or you have to make them all teenagers when they do it, and then it just ruins the whole theme of the
Mhm.
book.
Exactly.
I feel like that's why Stephen King writes Danny Torrance going through Alcoholics Anonymous so well, because he did it.
Yep.
He was there. Like, that is a from the heart.
Yeah.
You know, I understand this redemption arc because I lived it.
No, like I really liked how, and I don't mind the changes because because the books are so different from the actual adaptations that it's not so much a sequel to the book, the movie. It's a sequel to Kubrick's vision, and then
Yeah.
a little bit of. And it was funny when people were worried because they saw a dick in the trailers because he dies in the I don't think he died in the original Shining book. I think he lived because he helps him
did.
get out. But in the movie, he dies, and people were like, "Oh, they're gonna retcon this." Nope, he's just a ghost.
He's just a ghost.
And speaking of his ghost, you know what? See, I'm talking about when he's in the room with Danny. He's like, "Cause a wheel." I was like, "Oh my fucking god!" I shit my pants. I got chills. I was like, "Fuck yeah, Dark Tower."
Yeah.
Yes, I was like super happy, but it's never gonna happen because Sony owns the rights and make a good one, you pieces of
Well,
shit.
did you know that Stephen King actually went to Warner Brothers and asked them to let them use a little bit of the Dark Tower stuff in this movie?
Mhm.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he was like, "This is my book. I want this in it because it's an important part of my universe."
Right, because it all connects.
Yep.
So
Ka is at least in all Stephen King stuff. It's the life force that binds us together. It's everything. Ka is a wheel. It's like karma and life force and everything. Ka is everything. And when he said that, I lost my shit because that, like, even I only even mentioned Ka in the fucking Dark Tower adaptation from that Sony made a couple years ago. So hearing that in a Stephen King book is
and
the
it
movie
kind
is
and it's
great.
supposed to tie in like the Stephen King universe because isn't the Dark Tower supposed to be like the epicenter of
Yep.
everything in Stephen King's novels?
Yep.
Yeah.
The tower is everything.
You need to add, okay, and there's also another line that's mentioned. I was talking to Angie about it this morning while we were waiting 30 minutes for Starbucks. Danny, who ends up dying in this movie, and we can talk about that. He mentions the stand, like you have to take a stand. And Angie
Mhm.
has this whole theory about.
Well, yeah, okay. This is why you guys were talking about the girl who played Abra.
Yeah.
And how she didn't really represent Abra, but she was a young, perfect embodiment of Mother Abigail from The
Yep.
Stand.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, is Abra Mother Abigail?
That
Because she had the biggest shrine, and
Mhm.
she called all the survivors to her, and she would tell Stu, "You got to shine. You know, you come and see me, you and all your friends." And she reached out and brought everyone to her. And I kind of think if Mother thinking about I said Abigail, but thinking about her on her homestead in Iowa, by the way,
Mhm.
I feel like I kind of felt like I had said to Becky, I think she's Mother Abigail from The Stand. And then at the very end, he was like, "You've got to stand. You have to shine, and you have to call everyone to take a stand with you." And I was like, "Oh, yeah."
I agree with that.
That's foreshadowing.
Yeah, because they're making a Stand movie. They're making it split
Yeah.
into
There's
two
a limited
parts.
series
Yeah,
on
that's what it
CBS
is.
that's coming out.
So
I mean, in that original series, it's still phenomenal.
Yeah.
Molly Ringwald and what's his face who played Stu, they were incredible.
and the guy that played Rand was
yeah,
good. Minus the really bad fucking CGI, but it's the 90s.
It's the 90s.
But spinning on your theory, I have a feeling. I have two that spins off your theory. I think she could she could be Mother Abigail, related to her somehow,
Mm-hmm.
or just because different universes and stuff with the King. She's that universe's Mother Abigail, because that same universe might not be where the Stand takes place, but
Mhm.
she's that because it makes
that
sense.
character, yeah.
Yeah, she's just that universe's character, which would be
Mhm.
interesting.
Yeah.
That'd be oh god.
Rats in the corn, Lord. Rats in the corn. He's coming.
Oh, that's terrifying.
Y'all
Oh.
come see me now, you and all your friends.
The scene where Rand visits her,
Oh.
Mother Abigail, in the book is fucking scary
Yes,
as
when
shit.
he steps out, she can see his eyes in the corn,
Mhm.
and she's like, "You get out of the corn. You come where I can see you," because she's like the Jesus character, and he,
Yep.
of course, I told you, was Satan. He's the Antichrist,
Mhm.
and he comes out, and he's terrifying. She's a little bit afraid of him, but he can't breach her.
Right.
Yeah, she's too strong.
Yeah.
Well, and there's a lot of tie-ins to Doctor Sleep, especially in this in the movie itself, because
It references Tack.
it represents Tack. It references the Crimson King from
What was the King's King reference? I didn't see it.
Lamerck. Is it Lamerck Industries?
Industries was where they killed
yeah.
the kid.
Yeah.
Oh fuck, you're right.
So it all has a
Goddamn.
tie to the Crimson King. So apparently this entire that's why I'm kind of wondering if all the Dark Tower universe
Mhm.
is directly being
And
influenced
it
on this
did
one.
keep the locomotive in there, the train, which is huge in Dark Tower.
Oh my god. You're right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so, and he, in the book, Danny Torrance is obsessed with that train, and he doesn't quite know why,
That's
but
why.
he feels connected to it.
Yeah.
And he also feels like the train wasn't, it never really explained it, because it leaves you to have read the other books and understand what's happening, but the train wasn't a good part of his life.
Yeah.
Oh no.
He kind of controlled the train.
Yeah.
It's different. They can't take everything from the book little like that, but
Yeah.
I thought that was interesting.
It's
the train.
because some of King's stuff in the books are so fucking weird. I don't think it would translate well into film.
Well,
or
And
like
it
a
had
miniseries.
the on the theater, the comedian that was Dandelo.
Joe Collins.
Yeah, didn't he turn into?
Yeah, he turned
Dandelo?
into Dandelo, and he fed on people's laughters like
Yeah.
like he was related to Pennywise.
But it had like a comedy show by that guy.
Yeah.
Up there.
Oh,
There was
yeah.
tons of
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah,
Fuck.
like where they were playing Casablanca, they had Joe
Mhm.
Collins, and Joe Collins is supposed to be like a character from Dark Tower.
Mhm.
And
I gotta go back. I saw this super early in the morning. I saw it like at because NCG was doing a show like at 10 a.m. I'm like,
Wow.
Yeah.
well, I wanted to see it because I don't like going to a movie that I have to analyze and discuss when there's a bunch of people in the theater. And I was lucky there was me, old guy that fucking, I think he had breathing problems, but but them, and then there's this lady that was a champ. I know this has nothing to do with the movie, but this lady was a fucking champ. She on crutches, fucking crutched up the stairs, up all the way behind me.
oh
And
damn.
fucking crutches. I was like, you're
Yeah.
a fucking champ. And her son was there. It was adorable. So just me and 3 other people in the theater. So
Yeah.
it was
So
perfect.
it worked out good.
Well,
yeah.
we had a good theater crowd, except the one person with their fucking phone out was beside
Oh my
Becky.
God.
Yeah, that really sucked.
That's why I can't fucking. That's why I have to
Because it takes, no matter what you're doing, that light, you're just like
takes it out of it.
Yeah, you got to see it.
Mhm.
And the thing is, you can see it. Speaking of things that don't translate well, Mike Flanagan, Angie talked about it a little bit, is that Dan was actually Abra's uncle. But that's a reference back to Jack Torrance.
Mhm.
In Dr. Sleep, the book, he has an affair with a teacher's assistant at Rivington
remember,
Prep.
that's why he got fired from his
Mhm.
job, because he had the affair and
He
to
was
save
an
his marriage-
alcoholic.
Yeah, he was fired. His wife was going to leave him, so he's like, let's just take this job and get away from everything, because he
Well,
was getting sued.
Mhm.
He got this woman pregnant, and it turned out to be Abra's mother, who
Oh,
was
yeah,
the daughter.
you're right. God, it's.
Mhm.
I haven't read the book since it came out, so I'm
So they
forgetting
kind of were
so
like
much.
Uncle Dan. She
Yeah.
called him Uncle Dan, and he is her uncle.
Yeah.
And in the book, Abra, he can't hide anything from her.
No.
She knows him. She knows everything he's done. And she's what heals him and helps him open his mind back up. Because remember, Danny as a child took his shrine and he
Yeah.
tucked it away inside one of the boxes.
Well, Danny, before Abra, was probably the most powerful shine user there was. So it was like, or having the shine. So he had to kind of dull it down, and it made him miserable. So I
Mhm.
think having Abra there, who kind of let him open that back up, he realized, okay, it's not necessarily a bad thing just because. I don't mean to remember. You have to remember, Dan was like 5 years old when the whole thing in The Shining happened.
Yeah.
So in his mind, what he created is that he ended up getting his father,
Mhm.
killed and
And what
attacked.
was destroying him, even after he had captured the lady in the bathtub, was that he heard everybody's thoughts.
Yep.
Like,
Yeah.
from around the world. He had to dull himself.
Or he would have gone crazy.
So he was, I think he was more powerful than Abra, but he had to lock himself up.
Mhm.
Yeah, there's a lot in this movie that you just kind of like, oh damn, there's just it's layered.
Yeah.
It's like an ogre. It's like an onion. It's layered.
Yeah.
Okay, there was one change from the film, from book to film. I don't mind the change, but I wanted redemption because remember in the book, Jack saves Dan at the end.
Yes.
That's
And
what I
was like,
told Becky.
fuck.
And instead you end with him being a dick to him in the bar and basically saying,
Take your medicine. Start drinking
well, and
again.
he was like, you have a wife and you have a kid and they take all your time until everything just becomes about them.
Mhm.
And so he doesn't get that closure, but in the book, Jack actually saves him and then waves goodbye at the end because he had to defeat all the Overlook monsters he let loose against Rose.
Mhm.
He had to and
Lock-
this time they were gone forever.
Yeah.
Like they're gone.
Yeah.
But then you see Jack come back and he waves.
Mhm. But I did like how in the movie Dan sacrifices himself because I don't when so much dark shit happens in a film, I don't like a super happy ending. I like there has to be some sort of sacrifice.
Well, and it makes sense
Yeah.
because, for the book, the Overlook wasn't there. They had to
Yeah.
go to the Overlook where the True Knot was. They had taken up camp in order to defeat it. So it made sense. There was no real reason for him to die in that sense because
Yeah.
there was nothing there.
And she was so powerful at the Overlook. The Overlook didn't kill her, it fed her. And she was feeding from the Overlook, and she had her true form, her true demonic, very hard to beat form. So I think he ends up like pushing her off of something.
Yeah,
to
she
kill
put
her.
it's like the observation deck from the Overlook Hotel that's still there. She pushes
Yeah.
him off the cliff or whatever. But you don't have that in this movie because the Overlook isn't destroyed.
Mhm.
So I think it was a good way for Mike Flanagan to tie up how the
To the-
Overlook was destroyed
yeah.
in the first place.
And it was good.
Yeah.
It was really, really good. Honestly, it made more sense in the book.
Yeah.
Let's be honest.
No, it did.
It did.
Well,
did.
and that's what a lot of people said online, like on Reddit. They said this movie felt more Stephen King because the good guy, there wasn't just like, all good guys win, yay, the end. It was like good guys did lose.
Mm-hmm.
Because the end of the book, where the way he beat Rose the Hat and stuff, it kind of felt like a Rose Matter ending where you're like,
Mhm.
what?
Yeah.
What? It was good,
Mm-hmm.
but I remember reading the end of the book and I was like, meh.
There's one more nitpicky thing about this film. After Billy kills himself, does he just leave the body there or at the campsite?
Well, because
Yeah.
remember in the book when they had found the kid, they
Mhm.
actually called, I believe, law enforcement,
Mm-hmm.
and he also had another friend who was with him. So you're missing a whole character that
Yeah.
helped him, and I think in the book that's the character that actually sacrificed
Mm.
himself and died.
I don't know. I know Billy
I can't
didn't die.
remember. No, it was the cop
Yeah.
character.
Oh, I think
They were
just
chasing him the
Mhm.
whole time. He had cops following him because he had Abra,
Yeah.
and they think he killed this kid, even though the cop is putting together he couldn't have possibly killed
Well, and
this
I
kid.
thought about that
Yeah.
too. Is like how, like in the movie, he finds his body. Let's give it back to their family. Okay, bye. Like, who's not going to
Yeah.
question him as to
Yeah,
what happened?
I think they just called the cops. And it's like, oh, he did the whole like fucking burner
Anonymous
thing.
yeah,
Yeah.
but in the
thing,
book,
yeah.
they were after him. There was a whole other character, but it's fine. You had the limit.
Mhm.
yeah.
I just wanted to see all I wanted to see for the Billy bit was like there's like a mound of sand like across or something while he's walking away or something. That's all. Because I don't like I wanted I liked Billy. Billy was his best friend. Billy
Yeah.
was his sponsor. Gone through
Who
alcoholism.
believed in him, and
Exactly.
Billy had a little bit of the shine, which they
Mhm.
used in the
Yep.
book. He shined a little bit.
Well, and you kind of got that allusion to it in the movie where he's
Yeah.
like, I can kind of sense where you're at. I can see it in you.
I can see
Mhm.
good people. I know when someone's a good
yeah.
person or not.
So it kind of had that same thing. I did want to mention, going back a little bit, I know we kind of skipped back over, but to the Dark Tower. You know, Grandpa Flick, I did not know this, is also from the Dark Tower.
Who was he?
Grandpa Flick?
I don't remember. Was he a
Isn't
vampire?
Flick, like, wasn't he? You told me this.
yeah, he was related to. Remember where they had all the kids imprisoned?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, where the
was trying to break the beam. Yeah.
Yeah, and he was. God, I already forgot, but we were piecing it together. I've already forgot the logic train.
One
But
day
he-
the logic train will come back.
He's like millennia old. And,
Yeah.
and he's incredibly old. 'Cause she was like, you were you hit a gladiator in the arena. You've feasted on kings and princes. And she calls him my love. He's the one who created Rose. He's like the first.
Yep.
The first of the knot. So yeah, there's more out there, but he died. It was such a huge deal that he died.
And the thing is, like, for this
God, I
movie,
can't remember who he was now.
you know, in the movie, I felt like it was more dramatic, but in the book, they all died of measles because they sucked on the kid who had measles.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So it wasn't like this whole dramatic thing where they're like, oh, we're taking out these, like, immortal vampires. It's, hey, you caught a very common disease that could have been treated if you had gotten your vaccinations.
Yeah.
The fucking God, that keep going back to the campsite scene. That scene is fucking brutal with the rifles. And,
Damn, yeah.
And Dan is the worst fucking shot. Thank God Billy can no scope fucking.
I know,
but
he no scope 360
Yeah.
Kobe'd them.
Billy, I think Dan hit clipped one of them. It's like,
Yeah.
to be fair, he's not really experienced with rifles, so I'll give him that. But like, I loved Billy, especially in the scene where like they're in the car. It's like either my best friend is really listening to a girl defy where a kid's dead body is, or he's crazy. I can deal with it either way.
Yeah, I know, that's true friendship. Like,
Yeah.
that's true friendship goals right there.
Mhm.
He's like, either he's fucking crazy or something supernatural is going on and we're about to find a dead body.
And go ahead, Angie. Sorry.
Well, another thing missing from the books to the movie is whenever they ingested the souls of those kids, they trapped them.
Mm-hmm.
So a little bit of the baseball boy's soul was in that glove, and remember, that's how Abra knew all this
Yep.
stuff. She communicated with him in the book. He was very weak, but he helped her.
Mm-hmm.
And then as they killed them and released their spirits, they joined them in the fight. Like they helped
Yeah.
them. They put their shine to helping them. And I missed that. That could have been a part of it,
Mm-hmm.
especially at the campfire scene when all the souls were released.
Mm-hmm.
That it could have easily gone into Dan, or
Yeah.
they could have helped.
He could have become Super Dan.
Yeah.
His handstand, just like a spirit. He's just a spirit bomb.
Yeah. Oh, Lord.
But no, speaking of Billy, I really want Cliff Curtis to get more leading roles. He's a really good actor, and he should.
Yeah, he did
leading
a
role.
really good job.
He's in a bunch of supporting roles. Give him a lead role. Come on, Come on, guys. Like, it doesn't have to be a big one. Give him like a Netflix movie. Like, give him something.
Well, he might. I mean, Mike Flanagan continues to do a lot of these Stephen King adaptations, we already saw Henry Thomas come back from Haunting of Hill House.
Hey, Angie. Let's petition Mike Flanagan to direct the girl that left Tom Gordon.
Yes.
It'd be so good.
He would do it so
Oh
well.
my god, it'd be so good.
Mhm.
Just
Becky finally read it.
oh, isn't it good?
It was really good.
It's super short, but
Yes.
it's really good.
It was,
And it
yeah.
had a great ending.
Mhm.
It was like one of those books where I was glad. It was like one of those rare Stephen King novels that actually had a good ending.
Mhm.
But I loved it because you just never knew, was she seeing it because she was going crazy, or was
dehydrated.
it or dehydrated, or was it because there was something supernatural out there?
I would
'Cause-
love. Oh, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
I'd love to see Flanagan's or whoever did the cinematography for this vision for the creature / bear. I'd love to see what they
Yes,
come up
me
with.
too.
It'd be
Yeah.
so good. Ugh. It doesn't have to be a long movie. 90 minutes flat.
Mhm.
Yeah, you could do like another Gerald's Game.
Yeah,
or
just-
In the Tall Grass.
Mhm.
I was not a fan of that in Tall
Nah,
Grass.
I wasn't a good fan.
I liked it.
The,
You
the
liked it in the
acting?
Tall
No,
Grass?
there was some the guy that was in the Conjuring films that was in that played the dad.
Mhm.
Really good.
Patrick
Oh,
something.
Yeah. Everyone else kind of like the whole incest bit of that fucking creeped me the hell
Yeah.
out. I was like, this is gross.
It was like we were at Barnes & Noble yesterday, and Joe Hill's come out with a bunch of short stories and also had In the Tall Grass. And I was like, I don't even know if I really want to read this because I wasn't such a fan of In the Tall Grass.
I liked it.
The short
I
story
did.
ends differently. Like there's like a lot of that stuff in the movie is just
Yeah.
fluff to make it into a feature length.
Mhm.
Yeah. But Joe Hill, finish a novel so I can read it because I love Joe Hill.
Have you read Horns?
Yeah, I've read Horns. My favorite one's Heart Shaped Box.
Okay, yeah, Horns is really good. That movie was pretty good too. Daniel
Yeah.
Radcliffe.
Oh, he was great in it.
Heart Shaped Box was legitimately one of the first books to ever scare me.
Did they ever make a movie of that yet?
No,
Why the
they
fuck not?
should.
Yeah.
Book was scary.
This is what Mike Flanagan does. He's gonna direct Joe and Stephen King.
Rest of his
Joe Hill
life.
and Stephen King. Yeah.
Like
This is what you're doing.
it's like because Mike Flanagan like
or
before,
ending Coons.
yeah,
Mhm.
like because before like Gerald's Game, Mike Flanagan did anything super big. So like King's like, I'll let you get famous, but you only have to direct what I want
I
you
thought
to
he
do.
did a fantastic
Well,
job
I mean,
with
he's
that movie.
guaranteed some sort of profit from it. It's a Stephen King novel. If
Oh, yeah.
anybody knows anything about Stephen King.
I'll
And
go see it just because it's King.
Yeah.
I'll be
And-
honest.
and to be fair, Bobby said this earlier. This movie was 100 times better than the hyped up It Chapter 2.
Oh my god, so much better. Fuck it, chapter 2.
It was like this movie felt like a Stephen King novel where it felt
it was
like
2.5 hours long. I never felt it.
no, I didn't either.
I was just like, what?
We got out of the movie and we're like, oh shit, it's been like 2.5 hours.
And can we briefly discuss? This is how you do a horror film. You don't do jump scares up the ass. You build tension.
There was one jump scare.
Yeah.
It was a music thing. I just about climbed the wall.
Mhm.
Like,
Yeah.
I was on the ceiling like,
Not that I don't mind jump scares when it's clever, but when it's like
yeah.
over and over. and
oh
over
yeah,
and over
you get
again.
used to
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
This
Mhm.
did, like what was the scene that fucking scared me? Oh no! It again, the fucking campsite scene. That thing's gonna stick with me for a while. Where they're all like walking up to her, up to Abra, like she's
Yeah.
just sitting there. And oh, I'm so fucking.
It was creepy,
Mhm.
and I think it really did set the tone. The very first scene with Violet, where she's standing there talking to
Oh yeah, yep.
Rose,
And
and you look over,
Twig
and there's like
breaks,
2 people,
yeah.
4 people, 6 people.
Mhm.
Bang!
Mm-hmm. Just standing there.
Mhm.
And that was a really like big scene in the book because you got to know Violet in the book.
Yeah.
I mean, it followed her. It had a whole chapter, like a long chapter where you knew her as a person, and then she gets killed. Same with the baseball boy.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's from his perspective, and you like this kid.
And just as a reference, once again, to the Dark Tower, number 19 apparently shows up a lot in Dark Tower.
Yes. The number 19 is a big old deal.
And they did, I think, Mike Flanagan did harken back a little bit to the room 217, which
Yep.
was the
237.
No.
It's
In the
actually
book,
217.
it's
Oh, okay.
217.
Okay.
I think there was a couple of reference. Oh, where the first guy dies in the hospice, his room number is 217. So that's his kind of throwback to the actual book instead of 237.
Okay, y'all know why 217 and anything that equals 19?
Yep.
Because in numerology, 1 and 9 is
Are
10,
prime.
which is 1.
Yeah.
And 1 beam is left.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, and then 237. 3 plus 7 is 10, and 2 plus 7 is 9. Plus each
Mhm.
other is 19.
Which is 10,
Dang.
which is 1.
Yep.
1 beam left.
I need to read Dark Tower.
Oh, it's
Oh. Remember, I got you a bunch of them. I think
You
I
got-
got
no,
you through 6.
No, you got me number 1. You got me. No,
The
you only got me
Gunslinger.
number 1. We could never find like 2 or 3.
I thought it was a book that had 1, 2, and 3 in it.
No, it was just number 1. And then the book got destroyed. So I haven't been able to read
I have
it.
the Gunslinger somewhere. I don't have the other
I can
ones,
always just
so.
go to Barnes & Noble. I really do want to read it. It seems like it's more up my alley than a
Mhm.
lot of Stephen King
I had
novels.
the Lock and Key books for the Dark Tower.
Yeah, they did
with
comics.
The ones with the pictures and
Yeah.
stuff.
I haven't read those. I need to. The comics. I
Mhm.
know it goes like it fleshes out stuff more. I need to read those at some point.
Well, Angie wants to do an entire YouTube series where we completely link up everything from the Stephen King novels to a universe.
We all start with his first book. We'll do first published, even though we know Carrie wasn't the first book he wrote. I think it was, or no, the first movie was Salem's Lot, but we'll go in the order that.
I have a book that can do that all
just-
for us. It's literally It's called Stephen King Connections.
I get that.
Yeah.
And the point
No.
is, I would like for us to do it.
Oh no! We'll just reference that if we
I
miss
said
something.
it once on a
Yeah.
podcast, and I got a ton of
Mhm.
links and stuff where people have already done it.
Yeah.
I would like
Us to do it, yeah.
I'm fine to do it myself.
You know, we can do it. I was like, we can use that to go back and reference. Like when we do Carrie, we put down all our ideas, and then we look back. Oh, we missed this. We put it in there, but we do the majority of the legwork. So I'm down. That'd be
Well,
fun.
consider I've never actually. I have a very limited knowledge of Stephen King because it's hard to read some of his novels.
Yeah.
That this is like a good, like now that I'm seeing it, I'm like I am all about people with universes.
We can call it the Scuffed Book Club.
The most scuffiest.
The scuffiest.
The scuffiest of book clubs.
The most disgustest.
The most disgust. Hey, we have to have a branding. And
I want to get branded.
hey, we made it through.
Almost made it.
We almost made it through an entire
Moreland's
podcast.
penis. Moreland's veiny penis. There we go. Let's just put it all out there.
0 days since Moreland's fat cock has been mentioned on the podcast.
On that note, and I mean, yeah, I think it was a great movie.
It's
I
good.
enjoyed it. I think it was a good adaptation to a movie, and good job, Mike Flanagan.
I like the sweater you and McGregor wore.
Which one?
The blue one.
Oh yeah, the light blue one.
Yeah. I want it. So that's
Becky,
like my
Christmas
biggest
note.
takeaway.
Christmas note. She wants a
I
light blue
know.
sweater.
Well,
You would look great in that sweater too,
I
Bobby.
don't like. This is the lightest blue I own.
Okay, well, what if we got you a cashmere sweater that color?
No, it's also so expensive.
But pretty.
I know.
We can't order from that Chinese company. I still haven't gotten those shirts.
Oh yeah.
hey guys,
Jeez.
you know we have a whole Christmas episode, nerdy Christmas.
Yeah,
gift
we're gonna do
episode.
that.
We are gonna make sure you can shop on your budget.
Oh,
Maybe.
there's a budget. Fuck.
God.
We do need to lay some ground rules down for that one though, because I will go bougie and you're fucked.
And we have to do Secret Santa in the group here.
Okay.
You can't tell each other either.
Yeah. No, because last year we just get gifts.
Yeah, or we could just get
No, we
everybody.
didn't do Secret Santas.
We did,
Well,
yeah.
I just it was surprisey gifts. But I got some for. Did I get some for? I got some for everybody, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we could.
I
just,
think everybody did.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think it's just easier. There's only
Okay.
3 of us on this
Yeah.
podcast now.
So when we do our nerdy Christmas gifts, we'll exchange our gifts then.
yeah.
Yeah.
Aww.
Yeah, because I did. You got the Goblo.
Uh-huh.
You got the kitty cat, and Moreland got that the fucking stupid.
The
ass-
furry con. I don't know.
No, I got him a Final Fantasy necklace.
Oh yeah.
Mhm.
He still wears that.
He wears it, yeah.
He better fucking wear
That's his your branding
Well,
on
that's
him.
your engagement necklace.
it. Well,
Your promise
I
necklace.
shoved it up my ass. I was hoping to get gangrene from it, but I guess
And
not.
we almost made an entire episode without Bobby shoving something up his butt.
Yeah, last time it was the mask that the girl brrr's on.
Tokyo.
Mhm.
Tokyo.
But anyway, Becky, where can they find us?
In Tokyo.
Toadkio.
Now, Angie's got a lot of shit about the Toadkio. I don't know. Anyways, you can find us, not shit, but like a lot of comments about the pun.
I like it.
I'm not saying what you want me to say, Becky.
It's fine. You don't have to. You can find us on Facebook. You know what you can find?
You know what? Becky's so salty because
I'm not salty about
she made
it.
it the word Tokyo.
You can find us on Facebook at the Free Rotation Podcast. You can find us on Twitter at the Free Rotation. We're
And
also on
Spotify.
YouTube and Twitch at the Free Rotation. And
We
you
have
can,
an Instagram now too, right?
Yeah, the Free Rotation Podcast. You can also find us on Weeby Geeks. We're
Wow.
affiliates of Weeby Geeks. Check out all the great podcasts over there. Hey, and also you can check out all of our stuff at your favorite podcasting app and at thefreerotation.com.
Please remember to like, share, and subscribe.
Oh, look at you. Hey, guys, hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button.
Hit the subscribe
Dab
button.
on the haters.
And we do have a hater who has commented on every video almost. This is nice. It's a bunch of talking though, no pictures.
It's a podcast, you fucking
My
idiot.
favorite comment that I've seen on our thing, and it's just every time. This would have been a great discussion if you guys just didn't talk to each other the entire time. I'm like,
That's what a podcast is. You're all dumb as fuck.
And I put a comment. I'm like, just FYI, this is what this entire podcast is about. And then they'll be like, I don't know if what you guys know. Like, there needed to be more research. You guys talk too much. What are you talking about? It's a podcast.
But we don't want to research.
Yeah, guys, you're lucky that we give you what you
We're
get.
gonna make shit up and pretend like it's research.
Oh yeah, I do that
Yeah.
all the time.
Yeah.
Listen, Wikipedia is your
Yeah.
friend.
Yeah.
Oh, then I edit the Wikipedia article with my shit that I said
That's
on the
right.
podcast.
They're like, that's not what happened. Go check Wikipedia. Meanwhile, it says like Bobby edited this podcast like 17 hours ago.
well, I put on the Johnny Bravo Wikipedia, I'm his son.
Oh, I gotcha.
It lasted for about 30 seconds. I had to show you a picture of that. It's
My
funny as
high
fuck.
school, that's a complete random side note. My high school had like, it tells you about famous people that went to school or at your high school. At the very bottom, it said Adolf Hitler, leader of the Nazi regime.
Jesus Christ.
I was like, look at Angie's face. Okay, guys, that was a great podcast. Have a nice day.
TheFreeRotation podcast.